Welcome to this module on a public load balancer demo. In here, we would create a public load balancer and see it in action. So let me jump to the console. We have been using the OCI console for some of our other modules. Right here, you can see the burger menu, and if I click on it, I can see the various services. Right now, I'm in the US East region. Right here in networking, I can bring up a load balancer from the link here. Right. So first thing I see here, there is not a load balancer which exists. Right now, to create a load balancer, I need a virtual cloud network. So just before this recording this module, I went ahead and I created this load balancer VCN, and it's actually rather straightforward, but I just wanted to save all the steps and save some time in the demo. So there are three subnets. There's an 81 subnet, there's an 82 subnet, and there's a load balancer subnet. Now the difference is 81 and 82 are AD specific subnets, but the load balancer subnet is a regional subnet. I made all of them public. I could have made these AD subnets as I made all three public, but there is no requirement for me to keep these in the public subnet as well. Till the point that my compute instances can be reached from the load balancer, that's all I really care about, right? So right here, I can see that my route table, I just have one route table, and it takes the route to the internet, and there's an internet gateway here. And again, the same route table is used for all three subnets. Again, like I said, I could keep my backends with a different route table. For security list, I have two different security lists. So there's a default security list, which my AD subnets have, and port 80 is open here, as you can imagine, because I have a web server running there. For my load balancer security list, I really don't have any rules. So ingress is empty, egress is empty, right? So just created a shell and it's all empty right now. The final thing is, if I click on compute, I can see that I have two instances running. So there's a web server 1 running in 81, and there's a web server 2 running in 82. And it's pretty straightforward. If I click here, I can see that this is my web server 1. And if I click here, I can see that I have my web server 2 running here, right? So rather straightforward. Now, this is all the pre-work I had to do before I could show you the load balancer in action, right? Because load balancer needs what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a load balancer in front of those two compute instances. So creating a load balancer is rather straightforward. I click on a create load balancer here, and I'm going to use a public load balancer. In the next module, we'll talk about a private load balancer. So the default name is fine. Right here, I choose the maximum bandwidth available. So small is 100 Mbps, medium is 400, large is 8 Gbps, right? I'm choosing small, that's fine. And down here, you can see that it's asking for a virtual cloud network because load balancer needs a VCN where it's running, right? So I picked the load balancer VCN, and then it's asking me for a subnet for the load balancer itself. And remember, it will make a active copy and a failover copy in different ADs, because I'm in a multi AD region. So I choose the load balancer subnet here, and I've chosen the load balancer VCN here, right? If I click on additional advanced options, I can do things like tagging, etc., right? And if I was using network security groups, I could use them to control the traffic here. So many times people ask, backends have to be in the same VCN, or can they be in a different VCN? They can be in a different VCN till the point you have the right security list, you have the right network security groups, and you have the route tables properly configured. There is no need to put all your compute instances and your load balancer in the same VCN. So I click on next step, and right here it's asking me to choose a load balancing policy. I can use a weighted round robin, IP hash, or least connection. I'll go with weighted round robin. That's the default. You see it's checked here, right? Right now there is no backends which are added. So I'm going to add backends here, and right now I will choose the web server 1 and the web server 2 backends, which are running in the same VCN in different subnets, right? But as you can see here, Bastion, database, web, my auto scaling instance pool, all show up here. These are not in the same VCN. They exist in some other VCN, right? But the reason they all show up is, like I said, I could have a load balancer running in one VCN, and I could have my compute instances running in an altogether different VCN. Still, security list, network security groups, and the route tables are configured properly. So I choose web server 81, web server 82, and add my selected backends. Now right here it's asking me to choose my health check policy. I will go with a TCP because I'm just making a TCP connection, getting response back. With HTTP I'll have to configure my URL and all those things, but probably I'm just showing a quick demo. So TCP is fine, port 80 is fine, and I can change some of these options here, right, interval, etc. Now if I look at advanced options, I can see that security list, there is an option here which says manually configure security list rules or automatically add security list, right? And as you can see here that it's showing the traffic egress rule going to port 80 for the first subnet and the second subnet. This subnet is 81 and this subnet is 82 because right here are my instances running in 81 and 82. So the system is doing that. If you don't want the system to do that automatically, you could manually configure it as well, right? That's completely up to you, but right now you can see that the system is doing that. And now it's also opening my ingress security rules for my load balancer security list. And for this one, let me just, okay, click next step. And right here it's asking me to choose HTTPS or HTTP, right? I'll choose HTTP because I'm just running a quick demo showing two web servers running behind this load balancer, right? And now I'll go ahead and create load balancer, and within a minute or so you would see that I would get a public IP address, and I should be able to bring that up in the browser and ping the two web servers in a round robin fashion. So let me just pause the video here for 15 seconds, and the load balancer will come up and will use the public IP address. All right, so it looks like my load balancer is up and running, and I can click here and I can see the public IP address here. It's available, right? So if I go ahead and bring this up in my browser, you can see that my load balancer is working, right? And it's sending the traffic in a round robin fashion. So I could click web server 1 and I could click web server 2, and I can see the traffic is coming here, right? Well, that was a quick demo of the OCI load balancer service in action. In the next module, we'll look into a private load balancer. Thank you.